Aberrant Action is the brand new solar rocket sidearm. This archetype has been absolutely slaying lately, like between the Call, the Strand rocket sidearm, the Indebted Kindness arc rocket sidearm, and now the Aberrant Action. Hey, people have been singing the praises of these PvE powerhouses for a while now. But this week, the Aberrant Action became available through the Failsafe Echoes content, and people are saying, like, hey, this is the best of the family so far. But is that entirely true? Is it worth all the hype? So today, that's really what I want to focus on, because a lot of content is evergreen, right? It's here all the time, like raids, major DLC content, obviously except Shadowkeep stuff and before that, dungeons, but seasonal content, like where the Aberrant Action comes from, that stuff comes and goes, and sometimes you miss the chance to get stuff because you just weren't engaged with Destiny at the time. Like, I took the entire season of The Witch off, for example, and then I didn't really feel like going back and doing all of that content when I came back to the game, because there was new seasonal, like a new seasonal arc available at that time, which was underway, so I was more focused on that. So, just how badly do you need Aberrant Action? Well, let's dive into that right now. You've probably already watched some reviews on this weapon at this point, but I'll give you a brief synopsis of my thoughts, sort of like an abridged review right now. Here's what you need to know. Aberrant Action is a solar build crafter's wet dream. It's that simple. No matter what ability your build is centered around, the Aberrant Action can elevate it. Obviously, it's got heal clip, which is probably going to be most people's call. It's tried and it's true. I think most people will just land on that. But it's also got Pugilist and Strategist, so you can pair it with a lot of different things. Just note that it doesn't get the same amount of energy back as other special weapons do, because it really is treated like a primary weapon. So you're not going to get quite as much as you would with a Strategist sniper rifle kill, for example. But it's still really good. So I spent a lot of time with Pugilist running a Consecration build, which obviously destroys groups, but it also does great damage to majors as well. I also spent a lot of time with an enhanced Strategist role with my Dawn Chorus Warlock with a Helion turret as well. And just freaking look at this, man. With Ember of Singeing on, I get class ability energy back for Helion lightning fast whenever I apply Scorch stacks to enemies with the Incandescent perk on the sidearm, plus my melee abilities applying Scorch stacks. So is my grenade ability. So everything is scorched in theory that I kill. But I'm going to be honest here. There are some good perks in the second column of this thing. But Enhanced Incandescent is really, I mean, it's the only S tier pick here. If you're not using Incandescent on this thing, then frankly, you're playing with a handicap, which is totally fine, by the way, if that's what you want to do. But just know that you're doing it to be different, not to be optimal. And I do think there's value in doing something different. I totally respect that. I do that myself a lot of times with guns. I'm like, everybody's doing this thing, so I'm not going to do it because I want to be different. I want to do something different. There's value there. And if you enjoy it, do your thing. But if you want to be optimal, like, Enhanced Incandescent is obviously the best pick here. But there are a number of fragments that enhance your build just by scorching targets too, like Ember of Searing, which gives you melee energy for defeating scorched enemies. This is obviously great with Consecration, but you could also do like a Caliban build on Hunters too, for more explosions that way. There are a lot of applications here, quite honestly. There's no way around it. Aberrant Action is an S tier weapon. There you go. It's an S tier weapon. And I unlocked the crafting pattern in 1 2-hour play session. From 0 to 5, no problem. 2 hours. Admittedly, I did have 70 Echoes engrams stored up, so that did help, as 2 red borders came from decrypting engrams. Just like, obviously I couldn't focus the sidearm specifically, but I could just do weapon focusing in general and cross my fingers and hope that the sidearm dropped. So I got 2 red borders that way with my 70 engrams, which I think is probably pretty low. I think most people would probably get more than that in 70 engrams. But then 2 red borders came from Battlegrounds completions, and I used 1 deep sight resonance as well, so that made 5. But, give it a week or two, you'll be able to focus deep sight drops anyway by doing the specimen quest from Failsafe herself. So it's definitely pretty accessible, more accessible than getting a Godroll Indebted Kindness at least, since you can only get 3 looted clears of the Warlord's Ruin dungeon a week, and you can't craft it, so it has to be randomly rolled. So getting a God Roll Indebted Kindness is considerably more difficult than crafting a God Roll Aberrant Action. But here's where I stand on the question of whether or not Aberrant Action is the best rocket sidearm in the game. For me and my money, it's not. Now just know, I already said it's an S tier weapon, so before you come and try to crucify me, like, listen, I'm giving it extremely high praise for its PvE potential here. It's like saying you'd prefer $1,002,002 over $1 million. You're not saying $1 million is a bad thing at all. But for me and my money, Indebted Kindness is still the king. Barely, but it's still the king. Now, unfortunately, to get a God Roll Indebted Kindness, you need a lot of time, you need a dungeon team, you need good RNG. So it is a lot less accessible. So if you're a solo player, you just want to run Aberrant Action, then heck yeah, man, you're all good. But I did farm a lot of Warlord's Ruin. And I did get a phenomenal Indebted Kindness to drop with both Lead from Gold and Volt Shot and a Reload Masterwork. And here's what I found. Aberrant Action definitely destroys groups. You're scorching a lot of enemies, and you can then ignite them with a melee ability or something, and that's super cool. But here's why I still like Indebted Kindness just a little bit more. Volt Shot one-hit kills most red bars, while Incandescent often leaves them, really low health, and you need some follow-up damage to ignite them or finish off the kill. On top of that, Aberrant Action this season can handle unstoppable champions, but Indebted Kindness can stun unstops too, and it can stun overloads with Volt Shot. So solar ignitions are a great way of stunning unstoppable champions, but this season we already have sidearm unstoppable mods on the artifact anyways. But jolting also stuns overload champions, so I can just use the Indebted Kindness. I've got unstoppable champion stunning capacity by the fact that it's a sidearm this season, but I also can jolt targets, which applies the the debuff to the overload champions, so they get stunned too. So I can hit 2 birds with 1 stone. 1 gun, 2 champions covered. Boom. Meanwhile, Volt Shot is also clearing ads just as easily as Incandescent. And a lot of people are running full solar builds with the Aberrant, and they're doing heal clip to get their health topped off. But my prismatic build on my Warlock is just, frankly, it's so much easier and keeps me alive much more consistently. I run Devour with Hellion and Getaway Artist, and this is my endgame PvE build. I literally never die in raids to ads, guys. I don't. I die when we have a team wipe. I die maybe to something dumb like jumping into a hole, or a thrall jumps in my face while I'm firing a grenade launcher, but ads don't kill me. It just doesn't happen. I have 2 turrets constantly proccing Devour, and once it's up, any kill will refresh it and to take me to maximum health. I can have 2 HP and go straight back to maximum health. Heal Clip can't do that. And I don't have to reload to do it. It doesn't even have to be a weapon final blow. Any kill at all. Meanwhile, Volt Shot is melting ads just as easily, if not more so, than Incandescent, while also stunning overloads. And this build just doesn't work the same way with Aberrant Action, which really wants you to be a solar subclass to make better use of Scorch and Ignition Fragments. But my Prismatic build gets the benefits of Devour, with the benefits of being able to do Ignitions anyway between Hellion and 1 charged Incinerator Snap melee, while also having the constant uptime on Amplified, which is also keeping my Hellion turret cooled down quickly because of the Prismatic Fragment that gives you class ability energy back with light final blows. And Devour is keeping my grenade uptime on like a 5-second cooldown. That's not exaggerating, by the way. I eat my grenade, and then I have a full charge back in 5 seconds most of the time. So all this to say, Heal Clip Incandescent, hey, these are awesome, as well as other build crafting options that include Strategist and Pugilist. They are without a doubt S tier, but when it comes to sheer versatility, I'm going to take my Indebted Kindness over Aberrant Action every time in endgame PvE scenarios. The build is just too good to pass up, and I'll probably make a video really soon breaking down my Prismatic Warlock raid build for those interested. It's the build I use when raiding, doing master raids, doing like strikes, battlegrounds, and when doing Sherpa raids too, helping others through the raid. It's just so dang good, guys. So that's the final verdict. Was the weapon overhyped? No, it's incredible, and you should absolutely get Aberrant Action this season. I want to be crystal clear about that. Is it the king of rocket sidearms? Personally, I just don't think so. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments section below how you feel about the Aberrant Action and how it fits into your builds. Thanks so much for tuning into the video today, and consider leaving a like, as this is the best free way to support the content right here on YouTube. And consider subscribing for additional Destiny 2 content. Hey, polite reminder, by the way, that I actually run 3 different YouTube channels. Yeah, I probably work 70 hours a week. I have a variety gaming channel where I've covered games like Grounded, Remnant 2, and The First Ascendant. It's a lot of fun covering other games for me personally, and that channel often punches above its weight class. It only has 6,000 subscribers right now, but some of my First Ascendant videos are close to 50,000 views, while my Remnant videos were getting like 60 to 70,000 views. I have an absolute blast making content on games other than Destiny, and I need to do it every now and then for my own sanity. So if you want to check that out and help that channel grow, that would be awesome. I'll leave a link in the description and the pinned comment for you. I also have a channel, by the way, where I collect, taste, and review whiskey called Vanguard. It's kind of a play on words, you know, true Vanguard. A dram is like a glass of whiskey, so, you know, I fused the two together. I'm very clever like that. I'm really not that vain, guys. I'm just being sarcastic. It's starting to get some good traction, by the way. I've been uploading there for years, and last week, 2 different major distilleries shared my content on their socials and their newsletters, which was like way cool. We have our own Discord with other whiskey enthusiasts. We do community events together. So if you'd like to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description and the pinned comment to that channel as well. Thanks so much for your support. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.